Yeah, because I had a question about the lying forelock and how that ties into like inhibition. So what is how does that tie into each other?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What happens is your frontal lobe is inhibition and initiation.
Okay.
That's generally speaking, that's what we do. You see road rage, weak frontal lobe. They can't inhibit anything. But what you have is, think about lying forelock. You want to inhibit. Lies are bad most of the time. So you want to inhibit those lies. You want to inhibit the bad behavior that you're probably lying about. So that's your frontal lobe, right? And if you do things that you're lying about, then you should have inhibited those already because you initiated the behavior. You made a conscious decision to do that. And that's where this stuff starts. For example, like when you came in and you asked me the question, you're sitting there, and rather than me looking at the paperwork that I was reviewing, that's what I was concentrating on, I turned, now I'm looking at you.
Right.
That would be frontal lobe, part of the frontal lobe, Brodmann area 8.
Okay.
Frontal eye field. You don't have to remember that, but you've got your frontal eye field. That's focused attention, because you tend to look at what you're focusing on, what you're thinking about. Okay. And how many times in the Quran have we read over and over again, lower your gaze, lower your gaze, lower your gaze? Meaning, not just look at the floor. That's not the most important part. It's literally, try not to look around for things that are unnecessary, for things that might lead you the wrong way.
Oh, okay.
Focused attention.
Gotcha.
And then, of course, focused attention relates right back to initiation and inhibition.
Intentions and stuff
Intentions and stuff like that. Absolutely. And that's only one of 5 different areas, is the frontal eye field, which is really cool.
You did mention frontal eye field earlier. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And think about how, when you mentioned earlier about Ramadan, and how frontal lobe lying for
walking by food and
all that
constantly
stuff,
thinking about it.
Constantly thinking about it. Well, think about during Ramadan with focused attention, and we are recommended to read through the whole Quran in that month of Ramadan, in this month. Yeah. What are you looking at?
What are you paying attention to?
What are you paying attention to? The Quran. What are you doing? You're focusing on the most important aspect of your religion is God's Word. You can read it and you are focused on being successful in Ramadan when you're reading the Quran.
As well as like just limiting the amount of stuff that also would take you away from that.
The distractions, absolutely. So literally, you just described it. You're looking at the Quran, we're initiating. And we're also initiating inhibition by not looking at other stuff.
Right.
Absolutely. That is the forelock. That's why this, and we can go other areas are important. Like I said, you got 5 different areas, generally speaking, that we talk about just in the frontal lobe. Okay. Then all the stuff that's out here, where is it? What is it? It's vision, all that stuff. But literally, generally speaking, initiation and inhibition, frontal eye field. You've also got something called the supplemental motor area, which is complicated movement. So imagine your frontal eye field says, oh, that's important. Another part of your frontal lobe is going to start doing the movements to move toward that or to do that. Okay. So that's all frontal lobe.
So you're saying even motor skills are playing into it?
Motor skills, unbelievable motor skills. Okay. It's that supplemental motor area. That's for complicated movements. And walking by itself is a complicated movement. So think about it, and then you're looking where you're going. So you got your focused attention. You and I are focused on each other right now. It's really cool that we're talking about Ramadan in the Quran, because that focuses our attention even more. And all of that is preventing God from punishing us by taking us by our lying forelock, our lying frontal lobe.